A new outbreak in New Zealand's largest city, Auckland, has prompted Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern to delay the country's national election by 4 weeks. Most New Zealanders agreeing with the move.
I think it's the right decision.
I think it's very good. It's equal to everybody.
Well, it gives everybody a chance, a fair chance to campaign.
Opposition parties in New Zealand had requested the delay after the Auckland outbreak prompted a 2-week lockdown, halting all election campaigning. The city is home to a third of New Zealand's 5 million people under lockdown.
That's really positive news. It means we can concentrate on COVID-19, do our best to get on top of that, and try and see that we're going to, because of that, have free and fair elections.
New Zealand has so far fared much better than most countries during the pandemic, but an abrupt resurgence of COVID-19 last week in Auckland has taken the number of active cases in the country to 78. The origin of the new outbreak is still unknown. Another country that had fared well in the initial fight against the coronavirus and is now dealing with a setback is South Korea. The country reported 279 more cases as of midnight Sunday, the daily caseload being the highest in about 5 months. Health officials there attributing this surge to cluster infections in churches, restaurants, farm markets, and schools. Public and high-risk facilities have now been temporarily shut down, and South Koreans are being urged to stay home as much as possible. Kindergartens and schools also being asked to reduce student attendance and teach classes online in some regions. Over to Europe. COVID restrictions dominating the school's reopening in Germany just a week after the number of cases in the country reached the highest level since May. Students are required to wear face masks throughout the building and in the courtyard. The principal saying normalcy is important for kids and that successful learning requires students to be brought together in the community. Meanwhile, in France, the government is sending riot police to enforce mask requirements. That as the country's 2 biggest cities, Paris and Marseille, expand the areas where wearing a mask is mandatory, even outdoors. France reported more than 3,000 new cases on Sunday, one of the highest daily spikes since it lifted a strict 2-month lockdown in May. The country's employment minister is expected to propose on Tuesday that masks be made compulsory in all collective workspaces. Closer to home, Hollywood slowly reopening as audiences across North America and the world eagerly await new programming as the pandemic continues. Even though only a fraction of movie and TV productions have resumed filming, some are now exploring international locations that may have fared better during this global crisis.
I am not ambitious that any filming is going to be happening in America anytime soon in a way that I'm comfortable with. I think I look to other countries as who have dealt with this whole thing much better and think maybe if they'll let us in, maybe we can film there.
Los Angeles County had given the green light for filming to resume with precautions back in June, but a lot of talent and crew not expected to return to work until 2021. As for international projects, Keanu Reeves among the actors back at work. He's working on The Matrix 4 in Berlin under new guidelines.
There's all sorts of precautionary measures, but it's not so impactful that you don't recognize the process of making film.
Melissa Duggan, City News.